news, everyone! I've broken my tripod. Also, I finished the last book. This is Get Big Things Done, The Power of Connectional Intelligence by Dhawan and Saj-Nicole Joni. I really should put post-it notes on the back of these so I actually know what I'm talking about. This is the last book in this year's summer reading program. So I thought this was just going to be a basic productivity guide, but no, it's all about what the authors call connectional intelligence, which they define as the ability to combine the world's diversity of people, networks, disciplines, and resources, forging connections that create value, meaning, and breakthrough results. Basically, crowdsourcing of everything, with a focus especially on things that can be done now that the internet exists. Well, I didn't get a lot out of this book. It's not really a guide very much. What it is a lot of examples. Examples of everything from YouTube startups to people whose blogs caused policy change, to companies who, instead of looking for an expert, crowdsourced a problem to look for results, to charities and sudden social media activism work. I kind of spent most of the book wondering if there was going to be a point, like if things were all going to wrap into some kind of through line, and it may also be because I was reading this piecemeal, a couple of chapters a day over the course of a week. I did a lot of my reading quite quickly this time. But aside from broad chapter headings like courage builds upon courage, no, mostly it's just leaping from one example to another. They don't really get down to brass tacks about anything until the final section, of which this book has 3. And that final section is actually after what appears to be the book's final conclusion, with a request to share it if you found something useful in it, and thanks from the authors for reading it. Part 3 reads a little bit like those questionnaires you find in the backs of books that get on school reading lists, only longer. It has personality profiles and reading guides and quizzes to be used in corporate or personal life. Exercises, basically, that's a good phrase. None of which I did because I don't do exercises that are in books that I'm not reading for personal reasons. I don't usually do exercises that are in books that I am reading for personal reasons either. But all that does not mean that this book is not good, because it is. It's all examples, and it's all good examples. It's very motivational, it's very empowering. It wants to give you ideas of how you can apply whatever problem you have to this great new resource that's out there of the internet and other ways of doing things. And I've got to say, having read a lot of books on leadership over the years for summer reading program, this was a real breath of fresh air. This book is full of YouTubers and young female entrepreneurs and businesses that happened in parts of the world that are not North America, and it has scientific examples and agricultural examples and social examples and emergency response examples. Basically all of the things you aren't going to find in self-help books from 10 years ago that are going to have all of their examples focused on North American big business. For some of my coworkers who have a better grasp on business history than I do, the examples in the older leadership books are an exercise in, did this work out long-term? Who's talking about someone who will later become horribly disgraced? So it's nice to find a book that has all new and recent examples. So in that sense, this was a really lovely book to read. It may not teach you how to actually do these things, but if you just want to read about some great case studies and get a little encouragement and some examples of how to start thinking about your business and or problem in a internet-y kind of way, then yeah, definitely. Read Get Big Things Done, The Power of Connectional Intelligence. I'm not in love with the phrase connectional intelligence. It sounds like a buzzword to me, but that's like my only complaint. Well, that, and it does that thing where, what are they even called? Right, those little quotation things? Pull quotes, maybe? Where the quote itself, it's also in the text. They always pull me out. They always do, every single time. I hate them, but that's not a good reason to get angry at a book. So yeah, this is my last book of the year. I've hit $200 and therefore cannot make any more profit reading business books this year. Seems like I got this done much faster this year than last. Last year it took me 6 books, and this year it took me only 5. I guess I picked things that were slightly longer. I also didn't have to reject any books this year on the basis of being too insulting, or too dry, or just too incomprehensible. I kinda picked some good ones. A bit surprising. All that's left is to write up my final reports, edit my final videos, receive $200, and decide how to spend it. I may get a very boring rain jacket. I am an adult. I buy boring things. But not unlike last year, I do intend to do a wrap-up video once I've cleared my head a little bit. I will see you one more time before this season of Haley reads boring business books and documents her losing grip on sanity and or destruction of tripods ends. I really hope I remembered how that sentence started in such a way that I could end it correctly. Until next time, book fans.